Hey YouTubers, it's Andu, and I'm here with kind of a silly review today. Now, ever since I saw one of Drax's videos where he reviewed what he called the worst blaster ever, a silly shots thing, it fired these little foam rockets. It was a cheap little toy. They didn't go very far, they just kind of fell off the end of the barrel. I've had kind of a fascination with tiny little, dollar store, $2 or $5 blasters from, strange little manufacturers. And so I've been collecting them. Some of them, I'm not sure where they are right now, but I'll look for them. And I want to review each one and kind of just, make a collection of videos of bad, little toy, cheap Nerf blasters. So today I've got this dart gun. There's nothing on the back. There's very little information on the front. I got this for $1 at Kmart. I actually used my Kmart rewards points to buy it, so it didn't cost me anything. And let's see here. It says manufactured for AUXO International Limited, Hong Kong, ages 3 and up. So there's your little RAND label there. So I guess there is one. Made in China. A little bit of, perhaps this is a language thing. Adult supervision is recommended when playing. Never aim at people or animal. So maybe there's a language barrier there that led to them referring to animal instead of animals. Because people's plural, animal is not. Anyway, let me rip it open. And I can tell you, I am kind of interested in what is in here as far as internals, but it looks like it's glued together. I'll see in a minute, I suppose. And I really don't want to just tear it open. I suppose there's no real reason not to, because there's more of them over there. There were 2 different styles of this blaster. I just thought this one looked a little better. Yes, it is glued together. There are no screw holes on here. It says Made in China on one side and has the batch date March 13th, or maybe that's a code, MAR 13. A couple of things I'm noticing straight up front. I am fairly certain that this is not a direct propulsion system. Now, in cheap blasters like this, you tend to find direct propulsion. That means there's no air pressure involved. You pull this back, and there's just a spring and a push rod, and as the push rod slams forward, it physically contacts the dart and just ejects it that way. But there's an air restrictor in there, and this part, there's nothing out here moving that will contact the dart. So, of course, the grip's kind of silly. I mean, it's even worse than a Glock 26, where you can only fit this many fingers on it. Just tiny. If this performs well, I can see this almost as a little pocket Derringer in a Nerf war or a game of assassination. Actually, that would probably be the only place this would work out. With a different handle and some LEDs, maybe this could even look kind of cool. So, anyway, let's take a look at the darts, and they are just straight up foam. It's a foam tip, not even rubber. It's kind of a rough edges around the side, kind of corrugated. And, sorry, something going on outside my window. And, well, doesn't look like there's too much consistency here. As a matter of fact, some of these are kind of off-center. So, there's 3 of these darts, and I was going to cut an Elite dart to make a Stefan and see if it performed better with it, but the inner diameter of this dart is too small to fit on here. As you can see, they're getting pretty close in diameter, actually, so that's out. And, well, let me open up this door, and we'll give this a firing test. So, here we are in the same place, just within my suite in the dorms, where I was testing the Triad out, and, let's see, whoa. I hope I didn't just break that, but that's certainly not a smooth trigger catch at all. It is greased up inside, so, 1 dart. Okay, this has me skeptical already. This is barely, just barely squeezing onto the barrel. It's very, very snug. So, okay, that could be a very bad indication. We'll see what happens here. Could that be on there with suction? Maybe if I loosen it up a bit. Let's see here. Well, Drac, I think I might have just beaten you for worst blaster ever. These darts don't even move. Look, I'm gonna do a thing you're absolutely not supposed to do. Yeah, they're just... I'm kind of disappointed here. I mean, I might have to, instead of putting this video up tonight as I was hoping to do, I might have to make some sort of darts that this will actually shoot, because this is disappointing. Let's see here. Okay, terrible air seal. What? You know, I may go to Kmart, buy one of these, and rip it apart after all. So, next shot should be internals. So I decided to pry it apart. I wasn't sure if I was going to or not, if it would even be worth it, but after I finished filming the final segment, I was like, well, you know what? Why not? I mean, I don't want to go buy another one to rip it apart, because this one's useless anyway. So I just pried it apart with my knife. It's only held together with a little bit of glue. If that, actually, it might even be just a friction fit. Very tightly friction fit. You can see it's fairly classic. It's got the little studs that go into the little holes in the shell. And it came apart very cleanly, actually. I kind of want to get violent because it's so useless, but you can see here how the trigger works. Actually a pretty strong, nice, decent looking and functioning little trigger. But then over here, we've got even more simplified Night Finder internals. I bent up a piece of rod over here, because this is super thin, super cheap plastic, but let's see here if this even comes out. Yeah, it just lifts right out. And very tiny, tiny little plunger tube. Let's see if I got... Here's a Sharpie for comparison. No, not particularly big at all. Let's pull this out. Little plunger head, you know, at least it does have an O-ring. That's nice. So it has an O-ring. This spring is not particularly strong at all. Very weak. I mean, I'd expect to find something, like this almost in a pen or something. So it's pretty weak little thing. It's got the O-ring here. No actual air restrictor, moving air restrictor. It's just this little piece at the front end to keep you from inserting something into it. And you can see right behind the plunger head is this piece that has an angle on the back, and that is a catch. And that catch is right on the top of this trigger. I should probably mark that, make it a little easier for you to see in this video. As I've told you many times before, the camera I use is not particularly good at close-ups. And that would sit right there. And then you pull the trigger, which I can't do because I don't have 3 hands and I'm holding this camera, and it would, release and it would fly forward. So, air seal, last thing to test. As long as we're in here, we might as well be thorough. Do everything so that I never have to revisit this ever again. Air seal. Okay, let's see here. Is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Let's see here. Little resistance as it goes forward, but that could very well just be the draft of the piece. You see, when something is molded, everything has to have an angle. It can't be a 90 degree to the mold in most applications, because it's very hard to get out. So that very slight angle, you'll find them on Nerf blasters. It's why when they meet, the shells meet, there's a very slight angle to them. They're not perfectly 90 degrees. That's the draft. That might be the only thing that accounts for the resistance in this thing moving. So, that's that. So, never giving up a good challenge or giving in without a fight, I decided to make something that this would fire, because no dart that I could imagine would actually fit and fire off this. So I took an older sheet of mine, very light paper, and used tape to hold it in shape. And this is just Scotch tape or whatever, masking tape. That's what it is. And it fits fairly well, anything but perfect. See, I had to give this a try because I could feel air. There's a small gust of air that comes out of here, and it didn't even work that time. Let's see here. There we go. I got about an inch out of that. That was a couple more, but that's just because it's falling. So, literally, I think I just found the worst Nerf blaster ever. It won't even fire a dart perfectly suited to it compared to the darts it came with, which don't fire at all. So, I mean, I guess I can use this to bug, flies and stuff like that. The noise, the clack it makes when it smashes forward is a little hard on the ears to make it even worth doing that, but, I mean, it's kind of fun. But, yep. Worst foam dart blast ever of all time. Keep your stick on the ice.